The underlying cause of this petrol crisis is the structural shortage of HGV drivers in the country. What do you think needs to happen to remedy the situation, and how long do you expect this crisis to last?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So, we have been flagging to government for probably about 5 months now that there is a shortage of HGV drivers in the supply chain. This is not a new problem, but it's been massively exacerbated by Brexit and COVID. It's a complex picture, and it's not just lorry drivers and supply chains. It's also a supply of raw material costs, a labour shortage, more generally. So we welcome the government putting in more visas for HGV drivers at the weekend, but we really don't feel it goes far enough. And actually, you see the issue here for petrol stations, but actually, the shortage of supply of labour in many other sectors: construction, manufacturing, hospitality, and care.
Well, clearly the government has begun to attempt to address the issue when it comes to lorry drivers, specifically doing things like relaxing visa restrictions for foreign HGV drivers, adjusting the rules when it comes to hours worked for each lorry driver. What kind of structural changes do you think the government needs to make to really change the situation longer term?
Yeah, it's good in the short term to have more visas, although it isn't really enough, even at the current levels. It's a short-term fix. In the medium term, we would like to see lorry drivers added to the shortage occupation list. And of course, in the longer term, better longer-term training. That, of course, is going to take some time. It takes up to 6 months to train an HGV driver, so it's not a quick fix.
I guess that this is what leads me into my question, which is, how much of an overall impact is this going to have on the economy? Because even if some of the quote-unquote panic buying subsides in the next couple of days, it seems like the HGV driver shortage is going to persist for a long time, to your point just now, and this will have a marked impact on the economy. How do you see it all playing out?
I mean, you're right. We would say it is going to be a continuing problem. It's also going to be exacerbated by labour shortages in food production, in hospitality, in construction. So we honestly think it's going to be a tricky 6 months.
And bringing it back to the macro narrative, again, what we've been talking about a lot the past couple of months are rising levels of inflation, something that the Bank of England are keeping a very close eye on. But this isn't the good type of inflation. This isn't inflation happening because demand is hot. This is happening because of multiple supply bottlenecks and, of course, a big shortage when it comes to labor and the availability of labor. What do you think the appropriate response should be out of policymakers at this point?
Yeah, our surveys and forecasts reflect something similar. So we do think inflation is going to continue to go up in Q4. But actually, as supply and demand begin to balance out over the next 6 to 9 months, it should begin to look a bit better. We wouldn't assume to say what we think the Bank of England should do. We think they're doing the right thing at the moment, but hopefully, as things cool down over next year, it will get better.